Happy Saturday, everybody. Every Saturday, I take the deck that won the poll here on the community tab for a spin on the best of one ladder. And this week, Abzan Control beat out the Naya Discover deck just barely at the time that I decided to record this video. And so we'll see, who knows where the poll will end up. But anyway, so last week I covered Orzhov Control. And this was a list, by the way, that every Sunday I go over my favorite meta breakers, which are off meta picks that hit Mythic. So all of these have 60% plus win rates by the people who piloted them in their own MMR. And so basically this one is Abzan, so white, black, green, deciding to bring in the Beanstalk, as well as the Restless Cottage for really just the benefits of playing green instead of being in a two-color space. We also see, so they kept the cut down, although they dropped one compared to the list last week. We've got four additional copies of March of Otherworldly Light. Some people pointed out that March of Otherworldly Light would be a decent inclusion over the cut downs in the previous list. So all three of these cards giving you the instant speed interaction to hit mono red prowess and the slick shot show off. March of the Wretched Sorrow can also hit planeswalkers, and this one can hit artifacts or enchantments, which can be useful for negating the turn 2 Knight Errant of Eos and Boros Convoke. This one giving you some life gain against mono red. And then we've got two Sunset Revelries. We don't usually see this inclusion outside of Azorius Control, but still a pretty decent card in the control space. Up the Beanstalk is largely in here instead of the Phyrexian Arena, some way to gain advantage if we are up against another mid-range or control deck. Then we've got one copy of Blotout. This one is particularly good against getting rid of the Acklazot's Deepest Betrayal, usually in Orzhov midrange or Esper midrange, or sometimes Dimir midrange or Aggro, because Acklazot's is an expensive threat that then needs to be exiled if you don't want it to keep coming back. And instead of the temporary lockdowns, we can see that they're running the Path of Peril, largely the same idea, having some sort of tool against the Boros Convoke and the mono-white humans go wide strategies. We've got one copy of Celestis instead of two, giving us some life gain and some filtering. One thing to note is that we are about to hit rotation in August 2nd, and come August 2nd, all of the Neon Dynasty cards are gone, the Midnight Hunt is gone, Vow is gone, and so is Streets of New Capenna. So this is not a rotation-proof list, but we get to play with it for another couple of weeks before rotation happens. The other thing, too, is they dropped the two copies of Ashiok, and instead, because they're not doing the Outrageous Robbery, instead we're doing the Wandering Emperor and Vraska in the Planeswalker slot. And Vraska is kind of an interesting one here. It's a lot of removal in one card, and then it can also give you card draw. So I'm really curious to see how Vraska plays. We're not really doing the one-turn kill that some decks build around Vraska for, usually not in Standard. We've got an additional copy of Sunfall and Deadly Cover-Up and Farewell. So lots of Wraths in this deck to attack the creature-centric strategies. And then we have two copies of Virtue of Persistence, and because this list is running 0 creatures, this is largely just to stabilize against mono red, being able to give something -3/-3 and gain 2 life. And then we can bring back the creatures from our opponent, but that will be less likely to happen. And then we do have two copies of Boseiju Who Endures, Takenuma, and Aganjo. Again, these will be rotating in August 2nd, and or actually July 30th, I guess, on Arena. But yeah, so we're going to showcase my favorite matches. See, I haven't been grinding the ladder as much as some previous months, and so we'll see how this goes. All right, our opponent is going first. We've got Cut Down for some early interaction to help stabilize. We've got some issues with the tap lands, but we can play Merrick's out on 2 for Sunset Revelry. And then we've got board wipes. Looks like, and this archetype in general is going to be weak, I think, against Azorius Control, if I remember correctly. So hopefully we have a creature-centric strategy that we're up against. Okay, looks like mono red. Oh, okay, this should be good. We're up mono red, and we're on the draw. I think I like the holding up the Takenuma here instead of playing the tap land. Allows me to play Cut Down on Monastery Swiftspear if they go for a Monstrous Rage or anything like that. Okay, so I think we just shoot the Slick Shot Show Off here. Kind of wanted to get a 2-for-1. I was hoping they were going to play a combat trick on the Swift Spear, but this should be okay. And then we can play the Sunset Revelry here to gain 4 life and get 2 chump blockers on the Swift Spear. And we're just going to try to make it till we hit Deadly Cover-Up. See, that's where I wanted the cut down. It's dangerous, though, because if they have Monstrous Rage as well, they can get outside of it. But the Trample, not really great to see here. I'm going to go for chump blocking it when it doesn't have Trample. And then Cut Down's good. Cut Down's nice. So we can play the tap land out this turn because we don't need the 3 mana. And now we can chump block the Swift Spear and see if we can get them to use a combat trick. If we block the Scamp, they could also end up killing our other 1/1. Alright, so they're just leaving back the Scamp. I have 2 cards left. I could go for the cut down on Swift Spear, but if they have something, it's not great. So I think I'd rather just block here. Now, do we try to do a cut down now that they haven't done any? Because like if they do a spell like a shock or a lightning bolt, then we lose the cut down. I think I'm gonna hold it for one more turn here. Okay, March of Wretched Sorrow is interesting. Now, they didn't attack with the Scamp, which makes me think they don't have a way to pump up the jams on the Scamp, which is why they left it back. Both of these things we can do on their turn. So I don't think I need to do the March and Cut Down right now. But what's nice here is I can do the Cut Down, and then if they have a spell, we can do the March in response for 2. Okay. Now is the moment. Is there an advantage to doing this any which way? Guess let's cut down the Swift Spear and see if they can't have another spell to save the Swift Spear, so that kills the Swift Spear no matter what. So we can do cut down here. I guess if they have they could save it with a Monstrous Rage. And then we can do this, and I might as well just do this for X equals 2, I think, to prevent the card draw. Because then that still doesn't get saved if they have a Monstrous Rage. Felonious Rage, maybe? Okay. So we gain some life back. That's nice. They could have done the Felonious Rage in response to save the Swift Spear. They did not, but they had enough. Alright, and this one we've got Up the Beanstalk on 2, Celestis on 3, into Wandering Emperor is not great. We can play the tap land out. Can't do the double pip white on the Wandering Emperor. Unless I lead out with the Lush Portico instead of the Restless Cottage. Because then we can do green here for Up the Beanstalk, then Takenuma for Celestis, then Restless Cottage tapped, use the Celestis to play Wandering Emperor. And we're on the play. And we can also smooth our land draws. Do we want that? 2 or fewer gives me the white. I guess I could play that next turn and it's okay. Usually Control likes hitting enough lands. This way, if they have some sort of answer for the Celestis, if we're up against control, for example, then we're not just completely out of luck. Could have also buried this. Alright, so mono white humans or maybe Boros Convoke. Gotta go cycle to one of our Wraths. Cut down would have been... so they're not likely to get out of the range for Warden of the Inner Sky. Unless they went Novice Inspector into Gleeful Demolition, that would get out of range. So here we've got to play untapped lands so we can Celestis, and then we can hold the cut down. I don't think there's any advantage to holding the cut down. I guess if they go to tap with the Warden, then I could do the cut down and get the one that they're going to choose. But if they play a land, they can do the Knight Errant of Eos. I think I'm just going to do the cut down now. And then Wandering Emperor next turn. And we can even do the Cottage if we want to risk them. They could Gleeful Demolition our own Celestis. Okay, there's the Novice Inspector. Which they probably just drew, especially if they have Gleeful Demolition. Otherwise, they would have done it last turn. Alright. Maybe they're debating about whether or not they shoot the Celestis. It's a possibility. Oh, they are. They're going to Gleeful Demolition the Celestis. Well, I'm glad they did that, because we can now just Wandering Emperor the Warden of the Inner Sky. I don't think there's any protection spells or anything like that. I could do it now, and it would prevent their scry value. Then they attack the Wandering Emperor with the Novice, and then we can bring it back with Takenuma. We could also wait for them to attack and then exile, and then the upside to that is we likely get a 2/2 Samurai token out of it. But we give them a bigger board. I think I'm going to go with... this could be wrong, but I'm going to go with exiling it right now and keeping the board small.
I hope you're ready to move.
Because I guess if they attacked into it, we could flash in a 2/2, eat the Novice Inspector, and then exile the tapped creature. So maybe I'm not getting maximum value there for the Wandering Emperor. But I don't feel too bad because I can bring back the Wandering Emperor.
I guess that's that.
Okay. So Boseiju can blow up an artifact that would give them the land that they desperately need, so we don't want to do that. Takenuma costs 4 if we don't have a legendary, mills 3s, and then we return a creature or a planeswalker. So I think I just go for the Restless Cottage here, hold up Takenuma. We're gonna need to hit a Wrath, especially once they hit lands and can start playing into the board. Okay, so that's pretty good. That means, it's better than them slamming like a Sanguine Evangelist. They could Convoke here for Knight Errant Eos. Downside with this is that they know that the Wandering Emperor is coming with the Takenuma play. But I don't really see what else we're doing with this much land in hand. Okay, there's a Sunfall and a Path of Peril. That would have been nice. Oh my goodness. Alright, well, the other thing too is I have a Restless Cottage. So if I get rid of the Warden of the Inner Sky... So we got a total of 6 mana. So I could hold up the Boseiju. I exile the 2/3 now, then they can just kill the Wandering Emperor again. If I hold it, then they're likely to scry or trigger a scry and then maybe not attack into it. I'll just go for it now. I wonder if it's ever right to Boseiju your own of the Beanstalk. seems unlikely. This still it's okay. We're stalling until we find our Path of Peril or Sunfall or any of those. Okay. I'll try to move my head for the Planeswalker. Okay, that's not great to see. It's okay though. I mean, we take 5, 2 of it goes to the Wandering Emperor. And then our board answers theirs pretty well. Oh wow, they even put 2 towards it. The Wandering Emperor alone gained us like 8 life. It's pretty sweet. Okay, Deadly Cover-Up. And then what card do we want to get rid of? Probably just the Recruiter. Three for 1 feels okay for me. We can get back the Wandering Emperors, so we don't want to do that ideally. Let's do a Path of Peril and a Celestis. I guess maybe I've used my one. Alright, let's get rid of the Imidane's Recruiter. Okay, they have 1 in hand. And then 2 Case of the Gateway Express. That's not a great card to have when your board is empty, so this should be good for us. They do get to draw a card. We've got Boseiju for their Case of the Gateway Express. Ooh, nice. And we get to blot out the Evangelist. That's pretty sweet. Or we could just Sunfall. Is there any reason not to blot out here? This requires 5 mana to do. So if I play my Boseiju out, even though they have the 2 Case of the Gateway Express, I can blot out and activate the Manland and start attacking them. It feels pretty good. I think I've got enough black for that. Yeah, it looks okay. Exile on that's pretty sweet. Now we're gaining 3 life a turn, essentially. See, is there anything in there? I don't think it matters which one I remove. Okay, Novice Inspector. I think I'm going to save the Sunfall again for when they have like 3 things on board. Because if they Case of the Gateway Express here, I don't care. Okay, so up the Beanstalk and then just keep hitting them with the Manlands seems okay. No discard in Boros Convoke, so should be able to play it out. Now we're probably going to Sunfall next turn, especially if we hit a land. Because if we hit a land, I can go Sunfall into the Restless Cottage. Okay, Knight Errant of Eos. That's good. And 2 Regal Bunnycorns. Nice. Okay. And they're not playing around the Sunfall, not staggering the threats at all. Pop a food here, sure. Okay, Virtue of Persistence. Oh, there's a reason. Okay, so with the Restless Cottage, I shouldn't have been removing their creatures because I can play them later with the Virtue of Persistence. Forgot about that. Don't think there's any reason not to just Sunfall here. We can't also attack, right? So we'll hold up the Mirrex, which Auto Tapper is doing. Good. And they've had enough. And drum roll, I believe that puts me into diamond. Nice. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. I'm going to keep it a little bit shorter today. I was just really going to play until I hit diamond with it. But it does give you, I hope it gives you an idea that what the deck is doing. The Restless Cottage giving you the advantage of the man land, giving you food. Up the Beanstalk giving you card draw, but less reliably than Phyrexian Arena, but doesn't cost life, which helps improve the matchup against mono red. So, you know, destroys the creature-based strategies of mono red and Boros Convoke, weaker to Azorius Control. So, remember to click like and subscribe, and welcome to my community if you're new here. On Sunday, I don't know if I'll get around to doing my meta breakers this week. If I do, I'll do business as usual and post the stuff on the community tabs. Otherwise, on Monday, it'll be my best of 1, best of 3 meta review. And then on Tuesdays, we've got some good submissions going on for the deck lists that I'm excited to talk about. So take care, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will catch you at the very least on Monday.